This is Access 2019, Module 4, Part 2. In this segment, we're going to be using the FormWizard to create a form with a subform. So what that's going to look like is this. It's going to have the main part of the form will have the patient information on it, and then the center of the form will have a subform or a smaller window containing all the visit information for that patient. Now when we get into our wizard, you're going to want to add the fields for the top portion of the form first. So we'll add the patient table information first, and then we will add the visit information. So let's go ahead and get into our Lakewood database. We're going to start out on our Create tab, and we're going to choose the FormWizard. So our table patient is the first one that comes up. So we are going to be adding fields from that first, since that's the top portion of the screen. If that wasn't what was selected, you'd simply choose it from the drop-down list. We're going to insert their patient ID, first name, last name, birth date, phone number, and email. You want to make sure you add them in the order that they are given to you. Then we're going to come down and we're going to choose the visit table so that we can get the data from the other table. And we're going to go ahead and insert all of the fields. Now if you scroll up, you're going to notice that we have the patient ID twice. Once from the patient table and once from the visit table. So if we go back to our visual here, if we add the patient ID from the patient table, it will put it up here. If we add it from the visit table, it will also put it on every visit record in the sub window. We don't need the patient ID listed on every single visit. We only need it listed with their name and other patient information. So what we want to do is we want to locate the patient ID from the visit table and remove it so that there's only one patient ID up here with the patient information. Then we're ready to go to the next window, remembering that we do not click Finish unless Next is no longer an option. If you selected the fields in the right order, the patient information first, followed by the visit, it will come up correctly for you on the second screen. We're not linking forms, we are doing a form with a subform, so we shouldn't have to change anything on this particular screen. So we'll go next. Now they want to know, in our smaller subform, what layout do we want? And we want the data sheet layout. And then we'll choose next. Alright, so we're going to have a new name of our form. It's going to be Patient Visits. And the subform we also have to name, and that's going to be Visit Subform, but without the space. Then we're going to click Finish. And now you can see we have a form with a subform. So we're going to do some modifying of that form now. We're going to switch to Layout View so that we can modify the form. And we're going to come up here into the title bar And we're going to select the title. We're going to add a space in between the two words. Next, we're going to do some modifying of our subform. So we can see right now that it has a bunch of blank space at the end. So if we wanted to enlarge some of these fields, we could, but the last thing we probably want to do is then shrink the size of that subform so that it eliminates that blank space and has a more finished look to it. Let's go ahead and save our changes. When we navigate in our subform and our subform, we now have two sets of navigation arrows. We have next record up here moving between patients. We also have navigation windows moving between visits for that particular patient. Now, we can add new records here, which will add a new visit. We could add new records here, but I would not recommend adding your patients on this particular form, because then you're going to have a lot of patients with no address information because all of the fields are not there. So you need to keep those things in mind when you're designing records or forms for the real world applications. If you're going to allow the people to add new patients on this window, then you really need to put all of the address information in there as well. We're going to save the changes and we're going to go ahead and close our patient visits.